Good morning, Miss Alice.
Good morning, sir. Did I hear you say you didn't roll over?
I went back to contracts. I prefer trading with only three volume on the market.
You didn't do that.
I I can compete against three other people.
There you go. It's a way to look at it.
You gotta fight the system.
Uh-huh.
For a one-on-one myself.
Hopefully one of them has a bunch of money.
Okay, why is this being live streamed? I didn't live stream this, but it's being live streamed. Hmm. To who? From where? To what platform? That's weird. Oh, Mr. Wesley's telling me. It's Mr. Wesley doing that on me. He just let me know. Very cool. We'll be giving this a couple more minutes and, well, another minute. We'll get started this morning. And good morning for the people just arriving. For any of the crude traders, we did roll over to the H contract. All righty, let's get started this morning. Double checking SR starting out on crude. Over to the NQ. And ES. Alrighty, getting started this morning on ES. Big macro view for the week for me. Staying above that 934. Still looking for upside movement to 65. I'm going to see how much more of this upside we get. Maintaining those higher lows. Still telling we have that potential to see the upside. Didn't get the symmetry I was looking for. So I'm going to see how much more upside we get today. On the 30-minute chart, confirmation chart. Stayed in that huge drop, been in that consolidation between the SR1 and 3. Couldn't break it yesterday, retested. Now we're moving back up again. I'm going to see how much more upside movement we get. As long as I can stay above that 889, still looking for stair steps to continue. Puts me in the macro 10 this morning, and that 89 is my key. Staying above there, going to look for back to the all-time high at 24 with strength, moving up towards 56. Settling back below, looking for movements back to 954 with strength down to 926. Right now I'm in trade progression long, looking for additional stair steps to continue. I will monitor the strength pushing back below, and if we can retest, I'll look for that head and shoulder, change of direction moving down. Otherwise, at this time, looking for the big reversal pushing through 74. Any questions on the long-term S&P? Over the short term, big drop yesterday, corrected itself overnight and later in the day and overnight, stepping back up. Now I'm going to see if we can get back above that big shoulder over here. Spent very little time above that SR2 of the 7,004. So I'm going to see if we can get that strength above. I'll start looking for all-time highs, moving back to the all-time highs. Otherwise, may hold, and I'll see what kind of pullback we get back towards the SR1. Right now, stair stepping up in a big valley. Puts me into this macro 10 this morning. Bottom of the channel was my key at 990. Staying above there was looking for movements to 97 and then to the top of the channel at 05. We continue with upside strength. The next macro 10, looking for 11 and then up to 17. I will be monitoring the pullback back towards the key. As long as it stays, I'll still look for the upside movement with strength to put me into previous macro 10. Below that SR1, I'm going to look for shorts to 84 and then down to 77. Right now, I'm in trade progression long, looking for additional stair steps to continue. Prefer not hitting the SR before the next stair step, but we'll see what happens. Otherwise, I'm looking for strength into the next channel, retesting. I will monitor any weaker pullbacks for stair steps. Otherwise, I want to break that consolidation with a strong move through the SR1 and then come back and retest it head and shoulder changing direction. Questions on the short term S&P at this time? All right, putting it all together. I'll be monitoring the weaker pullback as long as I can still hold above the key. Still looking for the stair step off the SR1 or the trade progression for risk and reward. We continue just with upside strength. I'm going to look for other retests to take long opportunities. Now, if we get the strength, the big reversal pushing back through 91, I will look for that break of that SR1, retest to continue short all the way towards the bottom of the channel. Now, with the big reversal pushing through is putting me into the next macro 10, and I'll be looking for that mountain ridge head and shoulder off the SR2 at 77 to continue short. Questions on the S&P at this time? And good morning for the people just arriving. Over to the NQ, big picture this week for me at 883, staying below there was looking for movements back to the 500, hit that yesterday. Very strong move back up. I'm going to see if that holds or am I going to continue with upside strength? I'll start looking for movements back to the all-time high at 265. Can't break that. I'm going to be monitoring the downside, looking for symmetry again. The lower highs to tell me I'm going to move short. Otherwise, looking for that strength to continue to the upside. On my 30-minute chart, big drop yesterday, bounced off that SR1, stair stepping back up. Spent very little time. We keep making huge head fakes through 791. So I'm going to see if we're truly going to stay above it. I will pay attention to that 936 area for a possible pullback. Otherwise, I'm going to look for the strength above it. Starting to move up in a little valley, stair stepping up, and I'm in the macro 10. 791 is my key. Staying above there, looking for 936, and then to 8150. Pushing back below the key, I'll look for movements back to 639 with strength to 487. Right now in trade progression long. Again, I'm going to monitor this pullback that we may get off that SR4. As long as it's weak, I will look for another stair step. Got to make sure I don't get some good downside strength off that price. Otherwise, I am looking to break above for additional stair steps to continue above the 936. With strength below, I will look for the retest, risk to reward off of anything short off that 44, and then I need to see the strength back below the 791. Otherwise, I will look for the reversal at this 701 and looking for head and shoulders short. Questions on the long-term NQ at this time? And good morning for the people just arriving. Did start a little while ago. Over to the short term. After the big drop for the last couple days, hit the big macro 50, moving right back up. Big valley, stair-stepping back long. Spent very little time above that SR3, keep making head fakes. So that's where I want to see if whether I'm going to continue with that strength or we're going to start pushing back down at least to test the SR2. Stair stepping up, and that's where I'm at in the macro 10. My key this morning was 833. Staying above there was looking for 74 and then 915. With strength put me next to macro 10, I will look for movements up to 65 and then up to the all-time high up at 15. Getting below the key, looking for movements back to 783 with strength down to the 733. Right now in trade progression long. At the SR, I'll be trusting the SR, looking for stair steps to break that, to continue. Again, I'm going to be monitoring what happens at this SR4 for price action. If I get a weak pullback, I'll look for that. Otherwise, looking to break it to continue to the SR1 to the upside. I will monitor pullbacks to retest the midpoint for additional stair steps. Otherwise, I am looking for the strength below head and shoulder change of direction. Questions on the short term NQ at this time? All right, putting it all together. Again, I'm going to be monitoring the bounce off that SR4 or the pullback we get here. As long as it's weak, still holding, I'm still going to be looking for some long opportunities off the SR, but that could give me some opportunities short to get back to 833. With strength below that, then I'm going to look for the reversal and breaking out of the channel, moving into the next macro 10. Now I'll be monitoring any downside from that point for other opportunities off of SRs. Questions on the NQ at this time? Over to crude. Big picture this week for me, staying above that 58.23. Was looking for movements back to the SR at 60.45. A little detail at 74. Had some good strong moves up. No symmetry. So now getting a pullback, I'm going to see how much more downside we get. 58 is an important price, so I'm going to see how much more of this downside we get. And any pullback that we may get may be weak before that moving short again. On my 30-minute chart, couldn't break that SR1, came right back through. Looking at this shoulder, pushing through, want to see that neckline, but looking for short opportunities. Big consolidation range at the SR, looking for another break into the next channel to truly see some lower lows. Puts me in this macro 10 this morning. The midpoint of the channel is my key at 59.40. Staying below there was looking for movements to 95. With downside strength, I'll look to put myself in the next macro 10, and I'll look for additional shorts to 45 and then 57.95. Getting above the key, I'll look for movements back up to 84. With strength to push through the SR and the left shoulder, put in the next macro view, looking for additional longs to 28 and then up to 73. Right now I'm in trade progression short. Want strength to break that SR2, and I'll look for a retest of it. Risk to reward, moving short. I will monitor weaker pullbacks as long as it holds below the shoulder, looking for additional stair steps. Otherwise, I am going to look for the reversal and retest head and shoulder moving back long. Questions on long-term crude at this time? Over to the short term. Big drop yesterday. Quite a bit of volatility. Looking to see if we stay below this big left shoulder for additional short opportunities. Looking for movements to continue below that SR1. Big macro 50 drop. But started out this morning in the macro 10. Bottom of the channel is my key. at 59.14, staying above there, looking for 42, and then back to the top of the channel at 67. We do continue with upside strength, looking for additional longs to 97 and then up to 23. Breaking below that SR1 next macro view, I'll look for shorts to 58.86 and then 59. Trust in my SRs for all my trade progressions. So looking for stair steps to break, retest that SR1 to truly see some lower lows. I will monitor any weaker pullback for another stair step attempt. Otherwise, I'm going to start looking for movements back above the SR4 to continue to the top of the channel and looking for other opportunities all off the SRs on crude. Questions on the short term crude at this time? All right, putting it all together, needing strength below that 16 and 95. And then I'll start looking for the weaker pullbacks to take some short opportunities. Otherwise, going to look for movements all the way back to 95, the 59.95 area. So we'll see what kind of upside opportunities I get up to that. Now, if I can't break that SR4, looking for additional long opportunities, breaking the big picture SR3 for stair steps, I will look for that short. Otherwise, I will start looking for additional long opportunities. And then breaking into the next channel, breaking the high of the day. Questions on crude at this time? Alrighty, there's a trade room. Please limit your questions to the trades that we're going to be taking. So if you're looking for a trade setup, just tell me the price level you're looking for something at, and I will be happy to walk through the methodology using our SRs to give you my input. If you've taken a trade, please share it. We get to learn from the experience. Again, no comments on your trades. I'll only comment based upon the methodology. Give me the exact time so I can locate the candle and the price. No comments, please. Volume today, a little higher than average. News today, we do have natural gas at 8:30 Central. Other than that, pretty much all the rest of the news has already come in this morning. News looked pretty good. Take this time, get back into your journal and refamiliarize yourself with your game plan. Start with the top 6 boxes, read them out loud to yourself, get yourself mentally prepared for exactly what you're doing today. In your chart reviews, follow the simple checklist you see me go through every morning. I crush my charts down. I look at the big formations that are taking place in the market. While it's crushed down, I highlight the big significant institutional pushes. I zoom in, put me into the house effect. The house effect always gives me a clear direction. I apply trade progression and draw out my only formations that I'm looking to take trades at SRs. In your trading game plan, if you're looking to take a long trade, try to get in slightly below the SR and vice versa, slightly above the SR for the shorts. Make sure you got a good read progression. Always look at the bigger picture of what's going on. Don't get caught up in the micro movements. This is what drives indicators, but they're really not ready to go yet. Be aware of the head fakes. Trust in the SRs. Questions from anyone? And good morning for the people just arriving. Did start about 20 minutes ago. Alrighty then, I will see you all for opening bell. Right now, above my key and above my 0, I'm going to anticipate a downside head fake. I don't take opening bell price. I just anticipate the manipulation that happens on the opening move. Same thing on the S&P. At the SR, but bigger picture, above my 0, above my key, I will anticipate a downside move on opening. I'll see if it's a manipulation or are they truly going to pull back. Does anybody have any questions? Then I will see you all for opening bell.
Good morning, everybody.
And good morning to you. And good morning for the people just arriving. Did start about we start 30 minutes before the market opens. And good morning, everyone. Good morning for the people just arriving. Our market's going to be open in about 20 seconds. Beware of the opening volatile moves. They have a tendency to build buyers or sellers in. Follow your game plans. Follow your scenarios. And I'm anticipating a little downside move on opening. We'll see if that's a head fake or they're truly going to move the market back short. Opening bell, I don't take that opening bell price. It can go a tick, it can go 100 points. I'd be patient, seeing if it's a wave of movement manipulation or are they truly going to move the market, and I'm following my scenarios and game plans. See how much of this downside move we get. Bigger picture for me, I was going to anticipate what kind of price action on the NQ. I was going to get off the 936 anyways. So it's weak, still looking for stair steps long. And just be monitoring that opening bell. corrects itself, just being patient to follow one of my scenarios. If we get weaker pullbacks, retesting, I will look for the short. Over on the S&P, again, anticipated the opening move to go short. We'll see if it's going to be a head fake or they're truly going to change direction. I'm anticipating the head fake. Over on crude, just being patient. That's been open. If they break out of this little range we're in from 42 to the SR1, low of the day, looking for shorts, or break above for looking for long opportunities. And if anybody has any questions on any trade setups, be happy to look at anything with you. I'm being patient around this opening move. And then I'll look for one of my game plan scenarios to set up. Again, be patient. Wait for your game plan scenarios to set up. Don't take impulsive trades. Follow your game plan. Again, I'm very patient around the opening manipulation that can take place. I treat it like a wave of movement and should never correct itself. That'll be manipulation. If I can get good downside strength and weaker pullbacks, I will look for the short opportunity. If it corrects itself, I'm going to be patient to see if we get the upside off the 915 for the long opportunity. S&P anticipated downside move on the opening. Let's see how it corrects itself. Needing quite a bit of downside strength and a weaker pullback, I'll look for shorts. Till then, still looking for long opportunities after the opening whip settles. Crude oil breaking that little consolidation range. If I can get that weaker pullback, I'll look for the retest, but I will be monitoring any downside trades until I truly get some strength or break 95. But it could give me a stair-step opportunity to see an equal low. So I'll see if that sets up with a weak pullback. I've straddled the price, not broken. So I want the retest.
Gary, short NQ 834 at 922, out at 884.
Very good. Well done. You had that nice lower high on the opening. I anticipated downside move. This is consistent of you, Mr. Kelly. You've been taking these opening moves with great success every single day off these SRs. So well done. Another great trade.
Thank you. I think I'm going to call it. Been a good week.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't gone back later in the day and lost it. So
Stay disciplined.
addressing my boredom issues.
Stay disciplined, sir. Don't get greedy. You've been doing 1 and 2 and done. Keep that going. You've had great success off the SRs. Don't get greedy.
Sounds good. See
Well
you
done.
later.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
So a couple things I will be looking for on the NQ now. Some weaker pullbacks, holding below 915 for anything short. If it's a very strong move up, going to expect a correction to that news. We continue short. I'm going to be looking for a couple other short opportunities. With the weaker pullback, I will look for the stair step at the neckline. Otherwise, I'll look for the strength below 64 and look for head and shoulder or stair steps short to see to the bottom of the channel. Just going to see how the pullback takes place from the opening move. Over on the S&P, just being patient on that opening move. If I do get a lot of downside strength, and I'll look for the weaker pullback to take my short opportunity. If it's a head fake, I'm going to expect that to have a full retracement with upside strength, and I'll start looking for my long opportunities. Crude, just looking for weaker pullbacks. Join in short. Again, haven't broken that 95, so any stair step may be short-lived. Must see equal and lower lows. Is why I'm looking for the weak pullback to retest it, not just the straddle through the price. Opening move. I know oil opened an hour earlier, but it's opened again for traders, so we'll see what they really do on that. If I can get the weaker pullback, I'll look for a stair step. We're on the NQ, just seeing how that's going to retrace from that opening move, but came down. Ended up rejecting off trade progression in the SR at 874. I'm going to see if I get the weaker pullbacks to take some short opportunities, or am I going to get this strong correction? If I don't get either one, I'm still being patient to see if I can get one of my other price levels to set up that I'm looking to take trades at. In other words, a stronger move below, and I'll look for the weaker pullback. Over on the S&P, same thing, rejected off the trade progression in the high of the day, only straddled back below. Let's see how that opening bell may correct itself, and if it doesn't, then I continue with the downside strength, looking for the short opportunities. Being patient around the opening move. So on the NQ, anticipated the downside move on the opening. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't a head fake. When it corrects itself, just tells me it was a head fake. Anticipated we would get that pullback on opening. House effect tells me I was moving long, so I anticipate them to make a head fake short first. And I always treat opening bell like a wave of movement and shouldn't correct itself. So now if I can get that upside strength, I will look for the retest of 915 and start looking for my stair steps long. Other long opportunities I will look for is strength above the 695, and I'll look for weaker pullbacks to join in to see all the way to 15. Only short trades I'm taking. I gotta have strength below and a weak pullback. Not looking for shorts until I get a failed wave, the head and shoulder. Over on the S&P, similar thing. Anticipated the opening move to have a downside head fake. It's correcting itself. So now if I get that upside strength, I will look for that retest to take long opportunities. I won't be looking for shorts until I get a failure to see an equal high. And I'll start looking for possible reversals and or head and shoulders short. And I'm just being patient and waiting for one of my game plan scenarios to set up. When they set up, I set my order. Good morning for the people just arriving. We do start about 30 minutes before market opens. So over on the S&P, without the opening bell correcting itself, only half the way, at that downside strength now, I'm going to look for weaker pullbacks and start looking for some head and shoulder or stair steps short, just to pull back to test the key at 89. So I'll look for opportunities short. I did try catching the CP3. It's now hit my scale. I left it in there. The volatility never came back and filled me. Took after the failed wave, the reversal back down through 700. The volatility didn't fill me. It's hit my scale. I do remove it. I will look for a different opportunity. So on the S&P, I'm going to look for pullbacks towards the 700, or excuse me, the 7,000, or back to the 97 area, stair step at the neckline with downside strength. I'll look for those weaker pullbacks. I don't chase trades. I set my limit orders at my game plan price levels. And if I don't get the fill, it's okay. I don't chase anything. I look for my next scenario. Not missing out on anything. NQ, I did not take the reversal. It's the read progression. I need strength below that 844 before I started looking for any other short opportunities. Read progression, bigger picture. Now, if I can get some weaker pullbacks, I will look for the stair step short or strength below, and I'll look to retest this with running room. Did have a limit order sitting at 18 on oil. I did pull it after not getting my fill, and the read progression just couldn't continue with that strength. I did pull the order for the stair step short. Read progression.
Good morning. I have a question on NQ trade progression when you get a chance.
Yes, sir. Your question?
Yes, question is why trade progression is at 25864 and also not at around like 25,900 area on the next leg up.
It's when I get, I always look at the macro over the micro. So this is an institutional push I can use for risk and reward for some trades. I'm always trusting in the SRs. So that technically, yes, this is trade progression. But when I am that close to an SR, I trust the SR over the trade progression.
Got it.
Macro over the micro. So that is a trade progression. It's just, I don't put it in there. I trust my SRs over just a couple point range for that trade progression. Did that answer your question for you, sir?
Yes, it does.
I trust the bigger picture SRs over the micro SRs called trade progression. But they do give me good risk and reward instead of getting in. That's why you'll hear me say, if I'm looking to take a long trade, try to be in slightly below an SR. I always look to where they have made these price action price points below the bigger picture institutional footprint, which gives me better opportunities to get in, long or short, with minimal risk, knowing where I'm going to. This is why I say don't get caught up on the micro movements of the market where they have tendencies. This is what drives indicators. These big, strong moves, but they're not moving the market. Read progression. I just wanted to monitor the pullback off that 936. Always looking at the big picture. Why I said I spent very little time above there. Keep making head fakes through it. So I expect price action here again, just to see what it did before. What kind of pullback am I going to get off? If it's weak, still looking for upside. If it's a very strong move or a failed wave, I'm going to start looking for the downside. Till then, I'm just being very patient, waiting to break 915 to take any longs. Now with the failed wave or lower high and I get the downside strength, I will look for weaker pullbacks. Till then, I'm going to be patient. I've got higher lows, lower highs, all off that opening price. A little consolidation going on, not indecision, some consolidation. So I want to break one way or another, looking for one of my game plan trade setups, and I will be patient for it. Trade to make money, don't trade to trade. Over on the S&P, couldn't correct that. And if that's the failed wave, then I should get downside strength through the left shoulder towards its neckline. Then I can look for weaker pullbacks to retest head and shoulder to change direction, with running room back to 91, back to the SR1. But I will wait for that strength below. Over on crude, I did remove my 18 order after not getting my fill. It's the read progression, understanding multiple waves of movement approaching the SR. Gives me the highest probability of price action at the SR. I needed strength to truly start pushing below it. Was willing to give it one shot off that SR for a short. I don't mind missing it. I made my decision based on my read progression. I don't miss out on anything. I'm certain, confident, committed. Once I make my decision, that's it, until something else sets up. In other words, I will look for a short if I can get some strength below and a weaker pullback. That is the strength below and retested. It's the read progression that I'm not sold on, that I'm moving short yet. So if I do get the upside strength, I will look for the retest to take long opportunities. So just being patient. If I'm going to get the strength below and stay below, or am I going to settle back above the SR1 and start looking for long opportunities? For indicator people that do like to use indicators, showing a little negative divergence, just tells me why I'm having a pullback. I like seeing downside pressure through our zero line, through a left shoulder, because then I can look for a weaker pullback, as I call it, divergence, pressure, third kink for the no-brainer head and shoulder. Read progression, have a little negative divergence, just telling me why I'm having a pullback, but without the downside pressure through my left shoulder, I'm not going anywhere yet. So I'm being very patient right now, understanding price action that's taking place, the opening moves, and just waiting for one of my scenarios to set up to take a trade. NQ, if I can get that strength below 844, I'll start looking for other short opportunities. Or I'll look for weaker pullbacks, maintaining a lower high for any other short opportunities. Now I've triggered the reversal. Always looking for a neckline. I'm not a big fan of these little necklines. I've been using this price action over here to understand the neckline price. And if I can get that strength below and a weak pullback, I will look for the short opportunity to get down towards the SR. Won't be looking for any other shorts till I get the reversal through 844, breaking into the next channel. From the S&P, no deep neckline, stair step in the market. I'm waiting for one of my scenarios to set up. I want the strength below, at least to a neckline, and a weak pullback, or pushing below, and I'll look for the weaker pullback. Read progression. Still anticipating the downside move on opening and just waiting for one of my scenarios to set up. And just nothing has set up for me to set an order on the S&P or NQ based on my game plan. Oil, I set the one order, I did remove it. Now in this move, we don't see equal and higher highs. Set up other lower highs or failed waves. I'll start looking that we may be changing direction. So I'm going to be monitoring this movement up. Over on the NQ. Again, couldn't take the reversal. Couldn't take it the first time or the second time. It's the read progression. Understanding I was going to get a downside move on opening. And if we're truly going to move short, I'll get that reversal and I'll start looking for short opportunities. Otherwise, looking for weaker pullbacks with lower high confirmation to take any other short opportunities. Good morning for the people just arriving. Did start about an hour ago. Only set the one limit order on crude, but I did remove it when I didn't see that strength to continue. I did pull my 18 order off, understanding that straddled through, broke, did have a weaker pullback, but then I lost the read progression, so I did remove the order. Now I'm going to see if I get the upside strength and a weaker pullback. I'll look for long opportunities. Now I'm starting to look for some symmetry back into that range, and then I'll look for the pullback, not lower highs. If I do get that lower high, then the downside strength, then I will look for weaker pullbacks, most likely going to continue. And if anybody has any questions on any trade setups you may be looking at, be happy to look at it with you. I'm just waiting for one of my scenarios at my SRs to set up. Over on the S&P, triggered to CP3, the reversal, no deep neckline, stair step in the market. If I maintain that lower high, I can anticipate the neckline. So I'm going to see if that lower high stays. No matter what, though, I'm still looking for that neckline price. And then I'll look for a weaker pullback to take the head and shoulders short. Again, crude with it testing the macro 10 on the 30-minute chart. Rejection candle. But it did test the bottom of the channel with multiple waves approaching it. I did remove my stair step order. Everything told me we may not see another attempt to the short side yet. So I did pull that order. I would have been stopped. I don't care if I miss a trade. Once I make a decision, I'm certain, confident, committed about it, along with my read progression, the house effect, and what happened at 95. Doesn't mean I'm screaming long. I need strength above and a weaker pullback, and I'll retest that to take a head and shoulder long. Otherwise, I'll look for movement above 42 to take the stair step at the neckline, the little consolidation range we're in, for any other long opportunities. If I don't see the equal or higher highs, I'll be patient to see if I get that downside strength for the short opportunity. What was that? So again, triggered the reversal, no deep neckline, stair step in the market. If I can maintain that lower high, I'll anticipate the neckline. So I'm going to see if I get that neckline. Someone's microphone is open. Please mute yourself. Unless you have a question, but keep yourselves muted at all times. If I can get the neckline, I'll look for the weaker pullback. Otherwise, I'm going to look for the strength below and a weaker pullback to take a short opportunity, pushing below with running room to 791. Melody? No. I'll only ask one more time. Please mute yourself. If I have to keep asking, I will remove you from the room. Please have respect for all the other traders that are here and keep yourself muted and quiet at all times unless you have a question regarding a trade setup. This is a professional trade room. Please act accordingly. So I'm looking for that neckline, and then I'll look for a short. I don't get caught up in these little head fakes through here. Once I've triggered it, I fall right to my idiom. Without the deep neckline, it's a stair step. I must maintain the lower high, then I can anticipate it. In other words, I wait for it. Doesn't have to happen. Read progression till I get that strength below 844. I'm not looking for shorts, but could they come and test that before making another attempt long? Absolutely. And if I do get that upside strength, I will look for any pullback to take the long. Must see the neckline for me to look for any other shorts or weaker pullbacks, and I'll look for the short, maintaining the lower high. Same thing on the S&P. Making some big quick moves down through there, but don't get caught up in these micro movements till we have symmetry to that neckline. We're not going short. Hence, I trigger the CP3. There's no deep neckline. It's a stair step in the market. If I can maintain that lower high, then I can anticipate the neckline. I still have to wait for it. And then I'll start looking for short opportunities for myself. Over on crude, I did pull my 18 order short. I would have been stopped. Now I'll see if that, with the lower high, same situation of when I trigger CP3, it's just a price level of an institutional move. I keep triggering it. There's no significant move. There's no neckline. But if I maintain the lower high, I could anticipate the move. So now I'll see if I get the downside strength in a weaker pullback. I did pull my order for that short opportunity. At the time, it just wasn't ready to go. Now I have different confirmation. Now I'll see if I get the strength in the weak pullback to take my short again. You apply the idioms, and they're in the IBF lessons. If you apply the idiom to the only formation, it'll keep you from, or prevent you from taking some impulsive trades, seeing these big, strong moves, and then we keep getting these big, strong whips to the short side, driving human emotion. Be the trader. Don't allow them to head fake you out. Always understand the bigger picture, what's going on. They must take your contracts to be profitable. Don't let them. Be patient. Just because the majority of my trades are short doesn't make me a short trader. I'm picking on myself. So this is why I must stay focused on my neckline, so I don't get caught up in taking some of these shorts when we're not ready to go short yet. Doesn't mean we can't go short. It's just not ready to go yet. And I'm waiting for any kind of upside strength and weaker pullback to take a long or short off that 7,000 area. Is he going to give me the head and shoulder short, or am I going to get the stair step long? But I'm not looking short until I get a failed wave or the head and shoulder, and not all part of the opening whipping. Not usual by now. I've usually set multiple orders or gotten a trade. I've only set the one order because it's the only game plan trade setup that has taken place for me so far. Again, apply the idiom. You'll understand why the market is doing what it's doing here. I'm always looking at whatever created the head to help me understand the reversals in the market. What created the head? This is not equal or greater, so I'm not interested in the CP3 reversal. If I only trigger that reversal, the CP3, and I don't have that neckline price, it is a stair step to see an equal and higher high, but I can anticipate the failed wave, the lower high, to create the neckline. And that's what I must wait for myself. Keeps me from taking impulsive losing trades. Understanding what they're going to do, head fake you out. When they're ready to move it, they'll move it. Same thing on the NQ. Ever had the neckline? Stair step. I'm not using a 30-point risk for these trades. I'm waiting for that neckline for me to take any shorts. Pushing pillow. And if anybody has any questions on trade setups, be happy to look at it with you.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Gracia.
Here we have two neckline. Can you
Yes.
explain me what can we do about the first one, 25, 80, 99?
Well, if I get the deeper neckline, I can get the stair step at the neckline.
Okay.
It's a stair step, strong move, weak pullback.
Okay, thank you.
It's not that I'm not interested in it, but I got to get within risk and reward to that price. I'm not jumping in 20 or 25 points off of it. Read progression. I don't want to see an equal or higher high. I want to see the lower high for me to look for the stair step at the neckline. And right now I am maintaining that lower high. Every left shoulder has a neckline. And if you really looked at it, I put that in the wrong spot because that is the trade progression. So that is my neckline price at 93.
That's what I have it.
Well, you were right. You're always right, even if you're wrong.
Yes, sir.
The scenario I look for that, again, I already said it, long term, I cannot see an equal or higher high. Just a patient morning. Had a ton of movement overnight. Had a lot of great news this morning. I mean, a ton of movement overnight. And we have just fallen into a little bit of a range. I'm just being patient to wait to see if one of my game plan scenarios sets up so I can execute a trade. And I will be patient around it. Not looking short till I get a head and shoulder or failed wave. So I keep saying, I keep triggering that. No deep neckline, stair steps in the market. It's not ready to go short yet. Same thing on the S&P, kept triggering it. No deep neckline, stair step in the market. I'm being patient to see if I see equal and higher highs, or am I going to set up lower highs for short opportunities with the read confirmation? And that's what I'm waiting for to take any shorts. Oil, if I can get the momentum to continue, I will look for the weaker pullback without a big rejection candle. Now, if I can get that neckline with the lower high, bigger picture, failed wave, micro, lower high, I will anticipate the neckline. In other words, I'm waiting for it. Just because it's a failed wave, generally it's a change of direction. Still have to push through that 64 to the neckline before I look for myself for a short. If anybody has any questions, be happy to look at anything with you. I'm just being very patient this morning, waiting for one of my game plan scenarios to set up. Couple things I'll look for: weaker pullbacks to take stair steps, or the strength above the SR2, and I'll look for weaker pullbacks. I couldn't look for any shorts, never had the neckline. No short available. Without the deep neckline, it's always a stair step in the market. Read progression. Just wanted to make sure I don't see equal and higher highs before I started looking for any other short opportunities. And the idioms and understanding what has to take place. A head and shoulder had to take place to change direction. No head and shoulder, we're not changing direction. Over on the NQ, not looking short till I get my neckline, head and shoulder. If I can't see the equal and higher highs, I will anticipate I get that neckline. Just being very patient. If anybody caught the other stair step, I know, Gracia, you were talking about that. If you caught it, great job. Make sure that you break 64 to truly see some lower lows.
I didn't.
Execute, journal around the experience.
Yes,
You're
sir.
at the stage you're at, doesn't matter if you win or lose. Execute, journal the experience. I could care less it worked. That's not the high probability trade I look for with the read progression. And I've said it for the last 30 minutes. I keep triggering the CP3. There's no neckline. It's a stair step. And I can't look short till I get that neckline, get the reversal. Till then, everything is still telling me I'm moving long. My game plan, I just wanted to monitor what kind of pullback I would get here. It's an important price to see some price action at, whether I'm going to live above or below it, make some head fakes through it. So I want to see if it's going to hold, or are we going to continue to the upside? Nothing's changed on that. How I'm going to continue the upside? Stair steps. Stair steps is the only formation that ever continues in direction. 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s help me confirm I've changed direction. Now I can get that neckline. What I'm going to be looking for here in the next 4 minutes, 30-minute. If I don't see that equal high, that is a lower high. Now I will look for the following candle to open green. Not see an equal high. Maintain the lower high. Then I'm going to expect the downside movement. Then I'll start looking for the head and shoulders or other short opportunities. Over on the S&P, very similar situation. If it opens green, I don't see that equal and higher high. I get the lower high. I'm actually going to start seeing possibility of a reversal and or the head and shoulder to change direction. Now, if it opens blue, I'll be patient. This just tells me how much more upside I'm going to get. I'm going to start looking for stair steps long. So I'm going to see what this confirmation candle gives me in about 30 seconds. See if I'm actually going to have some short opportunities or we're going to continue in stair steps long. NQ, similar situation. If I get the neckline, I'll look for the head and shoulder, but I want the strength back below. I'm going to be looking what the following candle brings me on the 30-minute. Crude oil did come back and retest the low of the day. I was looking for something near 18 for myself for a short. We'll see if I get the weaker pullbacks. Straddled through now. I want to only see a weak pullback to continue short or strength to continue, and I'll start looking for other stair step opportunities off of the SRs to continue short down towards 58. So on the S&P and NQ, I don't want to see equal and higher highs. If I do, looking for stair steps. If I don't see if I see the equal high, I'm looking for those stair steps long. If I don't see the equal high, I'm still going to wait for that downside strength and a retest before I look for anything short. Again, we just keep triggering that reversal at 7,000. No neckline. It's a stair step in the market. Now I'm going to see if I see the equal or higher high. If I get that lower high and it starts moving short, that could set up some short opportunities. NQ, told myself I was waiting for that following candle. Nothing told me to take the shorts yet. In fact, I keep triggering that CP3, no neckline. If I don't see the equal and higher high, I'm still waiting for that neckline. If I start seeing that upside strength, equal and higher highs, I'm looking for the pullbacks to start joining in long again. Little whippy morning. Just being patient and waiting for one of my scenarios. And if it doesn't set up, that's okay for me. I plan my game plan and I trade my plan. I journal around the experience if something else took place to learn from it, but not take impulsive, unplanned trades. Plan to trade, trade to plan. Hoping nobody got caught on some of these head fakes short. So I say, don't get caught up in the micro movements of the market. This is what drives these indicators. Everybody uses indicators. All indicators are the same. They may have different names, different colors, the bells and whistles, whatever else. But the institutionals know what these variables, what these lagging indicators do. I trust SRs. I trust price action, not an indicator. There are times indicators can help confirm what you see in price action. So I'm going to see if we see these equal and higher highs. I'll be looking for pullbacks to join in. If I don't see those equal and higher highs, no matter what, I'm still waiting for my neckline. Same thing on the S&P. I'm personally waiting for any short for a neckline. Till then, I'm still anticipating to see equal or higher highs. And I'll start looking for those stair step opportunities. I'm going to remove my long S&P limit order, risk just to the neckline, and looking for that stair step long. Candle open the way, tell me I'm going to continue to the upside, set my order at my game plan price level, and was looking for that wick down, leaving me the higher low with risk just below that neckline area. I do remove my order after it has hit my scale, but was looking for that nice stair step with the longer term confirmation at my game plan price level. It just didn't come to it. And I'm not chasing it at 02 to a SR that hasn't been broken. But everything told me I'm going to see that equal or higher high. Start looking for the stair step. Even though it was a very strong candle coming down, I didn't care. Everything told me on that 30-minute candle that I'm not done to the upside. So I tried catching my stair step. Now I'll look to see if I get a weaker pullback to the SR2 at 05 for any other stair steps long following my game plan. Over on the NQ, I didn't set an order. I wanted to see another downside spike to see if I got that lower high. Now I will look for either the weaker pullback to take the long or the strength above to start looking for other long opportunities above 915. Not going to look for any shorts until I get a failed wave or a head and shoulder. Now I do have the shoulder. I'm going to see if we get the stair steps to continue. The 30-minute candle told me we were done to the short side. Just wanted to start seeing those equal and higher highs to start looking for long opportunities. S&P gave me it at my game plan price level with a little room. This opened right at it. I did not execute it. But again, without the deep neckline, I triggered that reversal. half a dozen times. Big, strong moves coming through it too. Nothing but head fakes. Trust trade progression, trust SRs, straddled, never broken, never retested. Rooftop held, I should have seen to the basement. How do I get there? Well, should have held on this pullback to see the basement. Till then, I've straddled the midpoint. Everything is still connected. Straddled it again. Midpoint holds. I will see back to the rooftop. Another reason I needed to see that neckline to see to the basement. Not get caught up in micro movements that makes you have a fear if you're missing out on a short. Don't fall for it. Over on crude oil, straddled through, wasn't willing to take that. Well, tried taking the stair step the first time. I did remove the order. I would have been stopped before it moved. Read progression, it was that rejection candle hitting the SR2 with multiple waves telling me we may be low enough. Now I gave that another opportunity to see if I'd get some strength in a weaker pullback. It's the read progression again, especially with the higher lows straddling through and an equal pullback at this time. So what I will look for is confirmation that 16 is holding for any short opportunities. If I get the strength back above 16, I'm going to see if it breaks the range, that consolidation between 42 and 12. And then I'll start looking for other long opportunities. Really happy I didn't take any impulsive short trades on any of these huge quick moves. Driving human emotion, that's going to go short or not. Without that deep neckline or not changing direction. No head and shoulder, no change of direction. Now opening bell has corrected itself. Yeah, it took an hour and a half. So I'm going to see where they're really going to move the market. If I get weaker pullbacks, I'm taking my stair step. On the NQ, if I get weaker pullbacks, looking for the stair step again. Otherwise, my next long opportunity will be breaking 915 SR, and I'll look for stair steps above from that point. If anybody has any questions on any trade setups, be happy to look at it with you. I'm just waiting for one of my scenarios to set up. I have set a couple limit orders, just no fills yet. I don't chase trades. Tried catching the stair step long on the S&P at 7,000, and also tried catching a good short at 59.18, excuse me, 59.18 on the oil. I did remove the oil stair step just because I saw different confirmation that it may continue to the upside first, which is exactly what happened. Prevented me from taking a loss, just following my rules. Tried catching the stair step on the S&P, just didn't get the fill, and I don't chase trades. Need to get in at that 7,000 so I could get my scale. Part of my checklist, do I have running room before an SR that I haven't broken? So I'm not interested in getting in 2 points below the SR, but I'm interested in getting in 4 points below the SR, allowed me to get a scale. But I'm not looking short. Yet. Always keep the options open. Now, if we just do continue with upside strength, I will be looking for weaker pullbacks. I do have a new trade progression price level in here, but looking more at the SR for the opportunity to continue long. If I had a very strong move above, I would look for a weak pullback. These little candles aren't strong enough for me to say that's going to be a good stair step. I trust the SR, but there is trade progression there. Now on the NQ, I did take the CP3 short. What created the head? I have an equal and greater move the other way. Did execute, scaled out, and protecting myself on my remainder. But I took the reversal through the left shoulder with the greater strength. Not getting greedy. It was a very minimal risk, minimal reward because we were in a consolidating area at this time. And just try to take some of my remaining profits just above the SR. Either that or I'll get stopped out with a tick on my remainder. Read confirmation. Couldn't quite see the bigger picture. High equal highs, lower high. In the moment that turned blue. That gave me the opportunity. That rooftop held. I'm going to see to the basement. The first opportunity is the reversal that I looked for. Idiom for the reversal. What created the head? I have an equal and greater move this time. So executed the trade. Again, I understand I'm in a tighter range. Scaled out at the neckline, or the price action I was looking for a neckline, just in case it pulled back to a head and shoulder, and now have taken my profits at the SR. Set the limit order, let the volatility fill me to take the reversal. CP3. Just had to be patient. I did take 57.25 points on that trade. Just wait. I waited all morning for that opportunity for my game plan. There are times you just must be very patient. And it was the read progression, bigger picture, lower high, but when it turned blue, that told me I should see equal highs. It didn't. Stair step off the doji, which confirmed movement back short with running room for me to get in my scale. Now, if I can get strength below as my game plan, I will start looking to join back in for other short opportunities. And it is that time, everyone. So set a limit order on the S&P, no fills. Set a limit order on crude, no fills. And was very patient waiting for my game plan to set up. Finally got one on the NQ for 57.25. This is class day, students. Input on class. Miss Diana, any input for class this morning? Miss Gay?
No input from me, Gary.
Okay.
No input, Gary. Thank you.